This is why we watch the practice clips, because things are getting spicy in Cleveland Browns sports talk. We're going to talk about who's going to be the starter. We're going to talk about some Kenny Pickett. We're also going to talk about Stefanski, talking about Pickett, talking about the quarterback matchup, talking about the battle this offseason. But before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now, because we're looking at these practices every single day. We're looking at rookie camp, minicamp, OTAs, training camp, what they're doing behind the scenes, your favorite rookies. It's all right here. We're debunking things. We're looking at what they're saying in the media. Click that button, stop missing out. But we are getting some news out of OTAs, and it's not just the news, it's social media, other media outlets. They're running with it. They're running with it hard. So in the beginning, it's Pickett and Gabriel starting off with the reps, Sanders and Flacco, and they're giving a rookie with a vet and allowing them to work with that vet. Seems like common sense, but we'll get deeper with it. Listen to what they got to say.
This is from Mary Kay Cabot at Cleveland.com. She writes, in terms of their battling order and team drills, it will likely be Pickett and Gabriel, number 1 and number 2, then Flacco and Sanders splitting the number 3 and number 4 reps at the outset. Placing a rookie with a veteran seems to make the most sense.
Are you surprised that it is Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel, number 1, number 2, as of right now?
Nothing surprises me. You know, if they would have said it was Dylan Gabriel with the first rep, if they would have said it was like Shedeur, maybe that would have been a little surprising.
Training camp and preseason games are going to be must
watch.
To me, this is a nothing burger. This is just the Browns getting into OTAs, pairing a rookie with a vet, just getting them out there. They're trying to see what they got under the hood here. They got 4 quarterbacks they're trying to shred things out with, and they're just trying to learn their quarterbacks, what fits best, and they're trying to see who's playing the most effectively. But Stefanski got things to say about Kenny Pickett. He's got some things to say about him to the media. He's getting pressed by these guys. The Cleveland sports talk is all about this quarterback battle. Go take a look.
What do you like so much about Kenny Pickett? Because, you know, he's a good story with the Pitt. Then he played for Pittsburgh, so you know all the fans are going to be side-eyeing him here.
He's a Jersey guy. He's a Jersey guy. Yeah, Kenny's really an interesting young player, and I say young. He played 2 years with the Steelers, had 1 year with Philly. They win the Super Bowl, so he's just in year 4. And as you can imagine, the entire league, you do work on players when they're coming out, whether you take them or not. You always think back to the conversations you had with them when they were coming out, and Kenny was a player we liked, did a lot of work on him, talked to his coaches, a very athletic player, a guy who's had success, has won football games. There's a lot to like about Kenny, and he's young in his career. We feel like, whether we were talking about the rookies earlier or a guy like Kenny, we feel like he has room to grow, and he works his tail off. He's got the right attitude. When that trade happened, I got a call immediately, speaking of from Coach Narduzzi, and he loves him. I mean, absolutely loves him. And I can see what he loves about him. Just a really good kid, works hard at his craft, and again, is very young early into his career.
Stefanski's never going to give you a straight answer on this battle. He's just not. He's going to let it play out, especially this early in the game. Maybe once we get into July, but he's going to say he likes every quarterback. He's going to say he likes every quarterback. He's going to give you those sweet nothings. He's not going to give these guys the answer. The answers will come in the transactions, who gets the nod when we're seeing things in the joint practices, when we see things in the preseason games, the reps in practice. Once we get deeper into training camp, we'll get our information there. But right now, everything's up in the air, which is why Cleveland Sports Talk is getting very crazy right now. But here is the factor number 1, going off the start of this clip, why Cleveland Sports Talk is getting crazy here, because like you see this headline I got under me, wanting Pickett to lead the charge. Give this one a listen.
I almost want Pickett to have the lead, and then if he's going to get knocked out, he's going to get knocked out. I've never really looked at a situation before with 4 quarterbacks and said, you know what, any one of these 4 guys legitimately could be the starter for the week, for the beginning of the season. I don't know.
Most teams don't have 4 quarterbacks because they have 1 or 2 that they really like, who they think are the guy.
And then you've always got one guy that you're trying to groom to maybe be a better quarterback somewhere down the road.
Instead, our team's looking for, hey, anybody? Show of hands, Andy. Who can play quarterback?
I think all four can play quarterback. The question is at what level, and is there any one of those four quarterbacks that can make this team a winner next year?
I believe they never watched Kenny Pickett play. Whether it was at Pittsburgh, with the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't believe they watched him play. If it weren't for Jordan Addison, he wouldn't have been a first-round pick. He shouldn't have been a first-round pick. He's not a first-round quarterback. He's just a quarterback that just got overdrafted. I'm not a fan of Kenny Pickett. I hope he proves me wrong. I want Browns fans to get a good quarterback. But from what we've seen over the years, Kenny Pickett's not it. And the fact is, this is another jabroni quarterback in the room that we're looking at here that might not yield the expectations that these guys are looking for. And it's not just them. It's the media coming out like sleeper Browns. And they're making things up. They're saying Mary Kay Cabot says Kenny Pickett is the current front runner for the Browns quarterback job. And that's leading off of the reps from OTAs, which is not the case because we got her right here. Give her a listen.
Well, it's going to be a tough call, I think, because the more I think about it and the more I look at this schedule, the more I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe Joe Flacco stepping in here and there is not going to be the worst thing in the world because you know that he can handle some of these big games and these big moments. And he played well for the Browns and he was suited to this offense. He took to it like nothing. I mean, he just adapted to it so well and the Browns just knew how to use him. Now, if he starts throwing it all over the yard and throwing picks, that's not going to fly. But I could see him looking really, really good in this quarterback competition, even though he's going to go third and fourth with Shedeur Sanders at the outset of it. And I know that the Browns really are hoping and believe that Kenny Pickett can be their opening day starter and win this job. But I think Joe's going to give him a run for his money. And he's going to dazzle in camp with that very big arm. And if you can make guys like Jerry Jeudy and Dave Njoku look really, really good and Cedric Tillman, then you're going to gain some ground very, very quickly in this quarterback competition. Think of what Joe Flacco did for Amari Cooper and David Njoku in 2023, right? So if he can do that, in the same way that Jameis Winston stepped in and helped Jerry Jeudy become a Pro Bowler and a 1,000-yard receiver, if you can make those guys look really good and hit some of those huge plays downfield, those are eye poppers and those are dazzlers, and it's going to be very, very tempting to want to have some of that. Now, conversely, you've got to protect that football. You can't be throwing interceptions. But if he can cut those down and still make those big plays, he's going to give all of these other quarterbacks a huge run for their money.
She's pretty much saying it's up in the air. You got to read between the lines a little bit. It's up in the air. Joe Flacco comes in throwing a lot of picks. That's going to push Pickett and one of the other quarterbacks. Flacco's the vet here. Flacco's got some time to league. Flacco can be very productive. He can also throw the ball to the other team a little bit. Kenny Pickett, he protects the ball well, but he can't move the chains well. You got a lot of upside with Shedeur. Gabriel's supposed to be a developmental backup. He's a good developmental backup. That's what he's good for. He's great for that. He's great for any team as a developmental backup. Shedeur's more like an upside starter with a ton of talent there that could really push that. I have him better than Kenny Pickett anyways. But that's not what she said. That is not what she said. That is from her latest podcast. That has been very recent. That is not what she said. They're calling on what they're doing at OTAs. Kenny Pickett, Gabriel just leading it out. Then it's Flacco and Shedeur. That way you got a vet with a rookie. That just makes sense. You want your rookies to develop, just stick them with a vet. Have them go. But we got more. They're talking about Shedeur. Does he have a chance? They're saying he might not have a chance. That's part of the thumbnail here. Doesn't have a chance. That's what they're talking about here. And it makes sense. Listen to him.
I'm listening to Tony right now tell me that my guy has no chance, and I agree. That's what got me so frustrated yesterday, that it finally hit me that if Shedeur is great, we'll never know because he's not going to get enough reps. He's not going to get any timing. He's not going to get any. It's just not the way. A two-man quarterback competition is bad enough.
Yeah,
a
right.
four-man quarterback competition is it's insurmountable.
At some point, they have to split it up and say, you guys are battling for the backups. You guys are battling for the starting job. That's
and
the
you
only
think
one
Pickett and Flacco will
Again, we're talking about opening game, not week 10. By week 10, they all probably will.
The thing about Shedeur not getting a full chance is there's so many quarterbacks in this room, there's a chance he could get overlooked. So every single day, he has to sell out. Every single day, he has to play well. He can't have any bad practices. I know he had a good rookie camp, but we also got to have a good training camp. We have to kill it in OTAs. We have to stand out above Kenny Pickett every single day at practice. And if you haven't noticed, they've been cutting off the media a lot with these clips because I would be having them every single day. And the reason why is because they don't want the circus like they did at the rookie camp. They want things quiet down. They want to evaluate. He has to show up and keep playing well every single practice. If you go back and look at draft day when he got selected, look at that video when he got selected, how the ownership reacted. Half the room loved it. The other half was like, eh. And that is a good notion saying, hey, if we're not killing it, they're probably going to look the other way. They're probably going to look the other way because half of them seemed like they didn't want him. They weren't excited about it. That's definitely something we could say. But who's winning the battle? Like I said, they're pushing Stefanski. They're trying to get Nuggets out. That means they don't have anything. They don't have anything. They're saying all this stuff. They don't have anything. They don't know. If not, they wouldn't have to ask him. They'd just be asking questions on top of what they knew. They don't know. But listen to this. Listen to what you got to say. Let me know what you think about him in the comments.
Out of your active quarterbacks, someone's got to have a leg up, right? You willing to tell me?
Yeah, I'm not willing to tell you.
That's a way to start the question.
Nice try.
Yeah,
we had an event down at the stadium, whatever it was, a week or so ago, a flag football event for young kids, and I got the quarterback question only 30 times or so from the kids. So we have a lot of young journalists in this town that are doing your jobs for you guys.
Did they have a favorite?
No, I think they're. It's more, hey, you got four of them. Who's starting? I said, it's early, guys. Let's get through the offseason before we get there.
The battle's still up in the air. Like, the media's trying to make it out like, hey, it's this guy, that guy. They wanted to be the first one on the trail. They want to be the first one to get it right. That way they get the clicks. They can say, I told you so, this, that, and this. But, hey, we know what's up. It's a battle. They're trying to figure out who they got under center. They want to learn their quarterbacks. They want to give them all an opportunity to do something on the field. And that's what we got here. That's what we got here, and especially Shedeur. And Stefanski's going to talk about Shedeur here, talk about how he likes him. He's not going to say anything bad about these quarterbacks, but Shedeur's a good kid. He's a good kid, and Stefanski says the same thing.
Shedeur's a great kid, and whether it's a following that he's earned, I mean, that's something that he's done a great job of interacting with fans, and but he is a great kid. You guys will get to know him more. He's working like crazy, just like all the guys. He's another young man. These rookies. My office is downstairs. As they got to walk by my office as they come in. They come in early, and Shedeur, just like all those guys, he's in there early. He's getting his work done. So he's working really hard. I like everything there is.
Oh no, I'm pulling for Shedeur Sanders. He's got a lot of upside. I think all these quarterbacks are going to have their moment. Maybe one of them won't. It's probably Gabriel, probably him. But the thing about this is, if I had to guess, week one. Probably Flacco. Flacco throws some picks within the first few weeks. Now it's the question of whether or not they mess around with Pickett. If they do mess around with Pickett and they don't have Shedeur as the clear-cut guy over him, as the QB2, then Pickett's probably going to get himself pulled eventually, and eventually we'll see Shedeur. Eventually. Probably late October-ish. If I had to guess, and just going off of the timelines of things, if my other thing I could guess is Flacco throws some picks in practice, Kenny Pickett and Shedeur becomes a battle. They go with Shedeur due to the upside, and they rock with that. But my guess is they roll with a veteran, and they go heavy with the run game. They stick with the run game. However, if Flacco turns it over a lot, then we're moving on. And that could be right to Shedeur. I have him better than Pickett. Now, he has more upside than Flacco due to ambiguity, but he's been in the league, so I can just see a coaching staff just rocking with that going into week one, and that just makes sense. That stability, you invest in this run game, you do have a chance if you can sneak away a few wins. That could potentially happen, and if you have less turnovers this year, you do have a chance to be a sneaky team. However, we start turning over the ball, things are going to get dicey quick in Cleveland. Dicey quick. And that's when Shedeur's going to rear his head. He could in training camp, but he's got to play well every single day. He can't have like a run of 3 bad practices. He can't have that bad day. He just can't. He's got to show up and play well. I'm rooting for him. He's got a pretty ball. He's accurate downfield. Very accurate passer. Been looking good in rookie camp. We have all the clips. It's been there. But again, the Cleveland media has been crazy. And I don't think people has been really putting together all the pieces of these radio shows. It's just been sticking out with Shedeur. We're going to have to look at some others here. But this was kind of fun to look at. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.